Smile.
What we do here is go back.
Tile plus Kirby paint tile.
Hello YouTube and hello 9th Age community. This is Charles with Every Shade Gaming and I'm bringing you another 9th Age Battle Report. This is my last report from Adepticon and I'm very excited about it. It was another interesting game. Played against Ogres again, and I'm going to have the battle report and then I'll probably talk a little bit about the tournament. I know it's been like 2 months, but I got to share my experience. So let's look at my opponent's list. So he has a great Khan named Lex, the Bastard Khan. Lex is armed with Cadul's Maul, he has a Sprout of Rebirth, and he has Headhunter. So he's got the D3 Ruins, the great weapon, and then he's got 4-up, and I'm not entirely sure what Headhunter does, but I'm guessing it makes him better in combat. He's an ogre, he's already good in combat. And then he has Juan Dinero. He's a BSB, he's got the Dragonhide banner, which is kind of interesting, you don't always see that on BSBs. Troll Eater, which I believe is the 5-up regen, big name, and a brace of Ogre Pistols. And then last but not least is Fergus the Furnace, beautiful name. He has 4 learned spells, and I believe he was rocking with Essence of Free Mind, Pyromancy, and Shamanism. And then for his core, and starting in special, he's got 2 units of Bruisers, 7 and 8, so a lot of great weapons, which I don't like. And then 24 Scrapplings, which are, nothing too standard. They had throwing weapons. And then 6 Mercenary Veterans. They have the Stalker Standard, which I love that banner. Full command, and interesting enough, paired weapons. I don't know if I'd go that route, but okay. 2 Saber Tusks for Chaff, a Scratapult, and then 5 Bombardiers with the Flaming Standard. So, interesting list. Definitely different than all the other Ogre lists I've played in the last, few months. I mean, doesn't have WAAARGH, so good on this guy for not taking one. And then this is just a nice shot of what the field looks like. I have my models on it, but, we have a field on my side, I have a forest in the center, and then there's a hill to my right, there's a big building in the middle of it, and then another hill. He's got a forest on his side, too, and on the field, so it's very spaced out nicely. So, starting with, these are my opponent's spells. I don't know what lore. I'm not going to worry about it. These are my spells. I have Enveloping Embers, Immolation, Scorching Salvo, and Pyclastic Flow, so pretty decent spells, so I was pretty happy with what I rolled up. And then this is my opponent's deployment. He dropped everything first to get turn 1, so we'll go left to right here. He has a unit of 8 Bruisers on the left with a Saber Tusk in front, and then his 6 Mercenary Veterans with his BSB and his Great Khan. Behind them is the Scratapult, and then to the right of them is the other unit of Bruisers, and then to the right of them is the Shaman. And further from all that is he's got his Scrappling unit, just kind of chilling out there. And actually, he didn't drop everything. It was just, it was counter thrust. And he had, 7 drops or something like that. It's a very condensed army. And I had, 11 or 12, I think. So he just easily I outdropped him, but he easily won first turn. I put my knights on the left flank for me. And then in the forest, I put my heavy infantry like an idiot again. On the right flank, I pretty much have my demis holding it down. And this is just my Knights of Sun Griffin. They're not demi-dressed anymore. And this is another good shot of my center. I have some Flagellants in the field. I have my Arcane Engine right out of the forest. I have my Imperial Guard with my Wizard in the forest. And my BSB is in the heavy infantry this game. I have some Flagellants up. And then 2 cannons back. And the militia next to the Knights of Sun Griffin. So, Ogre turns had turn 1, and he moves up pretty aggressively. Or not terribly aggressive, but everything moves up. One of the Sabertucks really flies up to start chaffing. The other one is holding back. Yeah, that's a good shot of what it all looks like. And then in the magic phase, my opponent rolled a Snake Eyes, so he didn't get a spell off turn 1 because I channeled, I think. And then in the shooting phase, he had a really poor shooting phase. Those Bombardiers shot at those Flagellants and only did 1 wound. EoS turn 1, these Flagellants are frenzy baited. They have to charge this Sabertusk. And I put Steady Men on my infantry, just because. And then this is a good shot of what it looks like. So I moved one of the unit of Flagellants right in front of those Lead Belchers, those Bombardiers. Not bad. And then I kind of held everything back. I was worried about getting charged by multiple things, but it ends up not being good for me. And then I did have a Scorching Salvo go off in the magic phase. Does a couple wounds here and there. And then I do a Pyroclastic Flow, and I think I kill a couple Ogres, which is nice. Yep, as you can see, there's only a couple Bombardiers left, which is nice. In combat, we easily kill the dog. And then it goes to OgreCon's turn 2. So the Bruisers charge my Flagellants, and that's the only charge he has. This is a great shot of how he's moved up. And this is where I felt that I was outplayed already, because he used his chaff really well. He's got that one Sabertusk blocking at my Knights, being cornered by those Bruisers on the left. He's got his Man-Eaters all the way up. I'm kind of blocked by my Flagellants. And the only thing I was happy about was the Bombardiers were almost dead, and I had Flagellants in their face. That was it. My opponent gets a much larger magic face this time, and I believe he was playing Shamanism, and I want to say he got Break the Spirit off on the heavy infantry, which I couldn't stop, and that was unfortunate. In the shooting phase, I lose a few more Flagellants to the Bombardiers this time, and then the Bruisers have no problem killing those Flagellants. EoS turn 2. The Flagellants charge right into the Bombardiers. I throw up Steady Men on the guys in the forest. And I also am able to get off a bunch of buffs. Just like in the last game where the heavy infantry were able to get a bunch of buffs up and like really lay the smackdown. That's pretty much what I resorted to this time as well. I had some Pyromancy spells that were great deterrents in the magic phase. I mean, the 2d6 fireball's really good at killing ogres still. And he ended up, I don't think I got any Pyromancy spells up, but I got a bunch of bounce spells up, which is nice. In the combat phase, the Flagellants go to town. There was only 6 that charged in, 4 survive, and they kill the 2 Bombardiers, and they pursue the Shaman, who gets away. But I was really impressed. It was such a great turn for me after decent magic phase, good combat phase. And then in the shooting phase, I believe I killed a Bruiser here with the pistols. And this is also a shot of what I did in the movement phase. Since I was feeling very stupid with how I got outshafted so easily, I was like, well, I'm going to lose this Knight unit if I charge this Sabertusk. Because there's no way I can charge the Sabertusk and take that full charge from those guys. I mean, the Sonnstahl guy might do well. I might kill an Ogre with the Knights, but they're gonna do more damage. They're just gonna beat me, and then they're gonna run me off the board. So I moved my Knight Commander out of the unit just to get him away, just to save his points. And then the unthinkable happens. My opponent charges with both the Sabertusk, because you gotta get the Sabertusk out of the way, and with his Bruisers. He was only 12 inches away, and he rolled 1 off. He was like a ½ inch off. I felt so bad for my opponent here, because it was just the most ridiculously unlucky thing to happen. Like, I think he might have been 10 inches away. I think he needed to not roll like a 3 on the dice. He needed like to roll a 4, because he didn't have a champion or something like that. Or, I know, he had to know. I think he was 11 inches away. I think he needed like a 5. He needed a 5 or a 6, something really low on the dice, and he just didn't get it. And the Sabertusk goes in alone, and the Bruisers are just stuck there, and it looks really bad for my opponent. And in another incredibly unlucky event, the Shaman doesn't rally. This is why I didn't really have to worry about his magic very much this game. It only happened like one phase. Because Shaman kept flitting. So, and next turn it's my turn. And this is just a shot of what the rest of the board looks like. So the Bruisers did also charge the Militia. I think I Sand Shot maybe did a couple more wounds. But I'm just chaffing them. But he does move his... This was really clever by my opponent. He moves his Mercenary Veterans right in front of my Heavy Infantry so they can't get out of the forest. And I'm just stuck there, unfortunately. And this is also a shot of... he did some stand and shoot against my... my Knights of Sungriff. So, EoS turn 3 is turn of the charges. The Flagellants charge the Shaman off the board. The Knights and the Knight Commander go into the Bruisers, and now it looks like what I planned was a genius stroke, but it was just luck. And then everything over here gets tied up. So, the Heavy Infantry go into the... They have no option. I mean, they have to go... I figure I might as well go in with the charge bonus and, you know, not let him get the impact hits. So, they go into the Mercenary Veterans... And the Imperial Guard and the Wizard and the Arcane Engine go into the other Bruiser block because, you know, better to charge Ogres than get charged by them. And the Scraplings are charged too, which is great. So in the Magic phase, again, I'm able to get all the buffs off. I don't know how I did it that time either. I think I was getting incredibly lucky. Honestly, I want to say, you know, it's like I rolled a bunch of dice at one of the bounce spells, probably the 5-up word save one, and he rolled all of his dice at it or something like that, and he just, you know, he just failed, and it's like, you know, I mean, I probably didn't roll that high, and he just whiffed. So very lucky to get all the bounce spells off on that unit, otherwise they would not survive in combat. The Scraplings take some heavy damage, but they hold. The Bruisers take a lot of damage. They do some damage back, but they do lose combat, and they are pursued and run down. And then my BSB dies in the combat with the Merc Vets, but we do well, and we kill almost all of them, just leaves the characters at this point. And we do decent over here, and I want to say we break them and run them down too, but I'm not entirely sure if it happened on my turn or the next turn. But going into overturn 4, he charges his Scratapult into the Heavy Infantry, which is a good choice, and he gets more of that combat res. And then after combat, he breaks in this turn, and you know he reforms to look like that. The Scraplings break on his turn 4, which is nice. This little guy, though, he had these really cool, like, actual halfling models as Scraplings. That little guy, ooh, man, he was giving me trouble. He was hitting every time and wounding twice. And he poked a wound through a couple times. I mean, he was only strength 3, too. He was a little troublemaker, I'll tell you what. My opponent had a very lovely painted army. It was a pleasure to play against models. At the start of EoS turn 4, I just kind of hide my Knights behind the hill. I don't really think there's much more they need to do this game. It's capture the flags, and they're one of my objectives, so they're just staying alive. Ogre King's turn 5. You know, my wizard died actually a couple turns ago, so the turns are moving a lot faster at this point. The Imperial Guard are kind of just chaffing. I was able to get rid of all the Merc Vets. It's just his characters now, and his Scratapult goes after the mortar. It's victorious, loses a wound, you know, from dangerous terrain, and then. You know, he beats through those guys in like a turn. And then this is really the final. The last couple turns went pretty fast. He got another one of my cannons. He only has his Scratapult and his BSB and his Con alive at the end of the game, which are a nice chunk of points. I actually had a whole like round of shooting against his Scratapult, like hitting on 4s with my cannons, and they just whiffed, unfortunately. But you know, it happens. I'm not really complaining. Because this game really turned around. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but the objective was capture the flags. I believe I chose his 2 Bruisers and Scraplings, because I didn't really want to deal with the Merc Vets. I did, somehow. It was amazing. It's the luckiest thing ever. And then I think he chose my Knights, and my Heavy Infantry, and I want to say my Imperial Guard, but it might have been... He might have chose the Griffin Knights. But either way, I got all of his score units. He only got one or two of mine. I can't remember if he chose the Griffs or not. But it ends up being a solid little win for myself. I had about 2,000 points left on the board. I think he had something like above 1,000. So a nice margin, nothing crazy. Ends up being a 12-8, and then I just won on objective. And it ends up being a 15-5, and I was like incredibly pleased with that because what a lucky turn! It really started. I mean, this game turned around, turn on his turn 3 when he failed that charge with his bruisers, because he should have not failed that, and he should have crushed those knights. I would have had my knight commander alive, but he would have got another one of my scoring units. I wouldn't have got one of his scoring units, and it would have been a completely different game. But instead, I just got I just had, he just had the worst luck ever. And then, just getting those buffs up, too. I can't exactly remember how it happened, but I know it was lucky again, too, because, at that point, I didn't have Flaming Swords this game, so I didn't have a Pyromancy combat spell. I only had my, my 2 buffs from my Prelate and my 1 buff from my Engine. And however it happened, it was very lucky. So it was this game was kind of an exciting end, mostly because I was like, oh, wow, how did that happen? But, that's sometimes how it goes in games. So this ends the battle report portion of this video. Now I'm just going to do a little tournament recap of Adepticon for myself. So this is a great picture of all the... I think it's still pretty accurate of all the armies that attended. As you can see, there were quite a lot of ogres, so it's not unbelievable that I played 3 in one tournament. It just happens sometimes. Probably going to go to Buckeye Battles and play at least 2 warriors. I would be surprised if not more. So far, it seems like there's a lot of warriors list. But that happens. Played a lot of ogres. Played there was... How many Kings of Ectane? 2. So I played 1 of 2. So that's nice. The winner of the tournament was Justin Berge, the man I played round 2. I think he ended up playing the Wrath Demons list that was doing really good all tournament, and he just snuck out the win there. So good on Mr. Berge. Good job. I actually finished. This is probably my best tournament finish. I ended up in 8th place overall. I had 102 battle points, or 102 tournament points overall. I had 62 battle points. I got 22 for paint. I felt really proud about that. I don't know how. And only 3 objective points. I got to work on getting more objectives in my games and stop losing them so much. But I did have 2 losses, so it makes sense. So it's 3-2 overall. Yeah, I felt pretty dang good about that. Actually, the cool thing is they didn't do multiple awards at Adepticon, which I love when tournaments don't do multiple awards. It's so great. It gives so many different players chances to win some more, to pass out the awards. The guy who wins, maybe like best overall doesn't need to win best painted too or something like that. And maybe best painted, he can also win like best, best army or, like best of his army or something like that. But, best overall doesn't need best good army, which is exactly what happened because Justin Berge played King Ectane, and the next best good army was EoS Empire Sonnstahlians, played by this guy. So I actually won best good army at Adepticon, which I was extremely excited about. So, and here's a very proud picture of the Kirby plus Tile Boys at a bar afterwards, and I'm there on the left, and the chubby guy with glasses, and I've got that medal around my neck. And actually, let me get a nice close-up picture of that for you, too. Here it is, folks, my Adepticon medal. It's very cool. Adepticon 2017. Best of the good armies. Hoorah. I want to thank everybody for watching my Adepticon battle reports. It's been a lot of fun. I was very happy to make those. Sorry it took so long. I will be going to Buckeye Battles in a couple weeks. This are due on Tuesday. I think I already turned mine in. I'm actually going to be playing a little Orcs and Goblins, which should be pretty fun. I've got a list that I think is going to be both fun and hopefully pretty competitive. A little untested, so I'm going to be hoping to get a couple test games in in the next couple weeks before Buckeye Battles, and hopefully I can make a couple battle reports out of those, you know, before the tournament, and then I'll be talking about the tournament. Thank you all for watching, and have an excellent day. See ya!